Daytona, Daytona, let's go away. Daytona, Daytona, let's go away.
So somebody in the comments of one of the recent Daytona USA online races that I uploaded asked if I could put together a small tutorial on how you gear drift in the game. Apparently there isn't much information they could find online about this, so I said sure, why not. Now I would add a little disclaimer to this that I am by no means an expert player, particularly when it comes to tackling certain sections of the expert course. So what exactly is gear drifting and what's the benefit of it instead of braking? Well, as the name suggests, it's initiating a drift using the gears instead of hitting the brakes. And the main benefit with doing this is that it tends to get you around the corner a lot quicker than braking alone does. So when it comes to gear drifting, there's two different methods that you can use to do it. The first is to do a 4-1-3-4 drift. The second is to do a 4-2-4 drift. The 4-1-3-4 drift tends to be a bit easier to do, but it's a little bit slower. The 4-2-4 drift is one where you do tend to slide out a bit more, and it's one that I can't always get working on certain corners. Because when I do, I tend to slide out too far and either come off the track or hit the wall. Now, as the name suggests with the 4-1-2-3-4 drift, what you're doing is starting off in 4th gear. As you get to the corner, you shift down to 1st quickly, you then start to turn into the corner and quickly shift up to 3rd gear, then finally up to 4th as you start to come through the apex of the corner and the risk of sliding out is reduced. If you're doing a 4-2-4 drift, it's exactly the same, except in that case you're going from 4th to 2nd to 4th. On Dinosaur Canyon, I find I can do the first two corners as you come through the overpass absolutely fine with a 4-2-4 method, but then the long drift that you get at the end and then that sharp hairpin as you come up to the checkpoint here, I find it always safer to do a 4-1-3-4 drift. The 4-1-3-4 drift will also get you through the Sonic turn on 3-7 Speedway. A lot of people do the 4-2-4 drift there, but I find it always makes me drift too far and I tend to smack into the wall. Now on both Dinosaur Canyon and 3-7 Speedway, you can use these drifting techniques without having to touch the brake at all, and you can normally do it without having to take your foot off the accelerator. You can just go through them full speed, do the gear drifts, and it'll get you through the corners. When it comes to Side Street Galaxy though, the expert course, things are a little bit different. For a lot of the corners that you encounter and drift around here, you're going to want to come off the accelerator as you go round them, otherwise you will end up just coming off the track. The only corner which I ever use the brakes for in this course is the final hairpin just before you get to the checkpoint. For that one, I normally brake a little bit before I get to it, then shift down to 2, then up to 3, then up to 4th. All of these corners that you encounter here just after the Jeffrey statue are all ones where you're going to want to come off the accelerator as you drift round them. This slightly curved bit here where you encounter the giant seagull is a section I've never quite really got my head around exactly how you're supposed to do it properly. So maybe someone in the comments could say what their best tactic is for that. Sometimes the track has got handy landmarks that you can use, which act as a trigger that lets you know when you need to initiate a drift. For example, on this corner here leading up to the shuttle, once you get to the second left-hand turn sign there, that's when you know you need to start doing the drift. And then as we keep going along the course, getting to this final bend right at the end, this is the one where I do usually use the brakes just before I get to it, go down to 2nd and then into 3rd to then try and get a bit of speed back up. It's one I've never really quite perfected, so your mileage may vary with that one. Now once you've got your head around how this works, you'll find that you'll be able to use these tactics on lots of different versions of Daytona. From the new Daytona Championship Edition arcade game in both its new Season Edition and original flavour, And you can see me shifting here using the face buttons on the wheel rather than the shifter that's actually attached to it, because it's basically only an up and down sequential shifter. These tactics will also work on the Dreamcast version of Daytona USA 2001. Because of the way you can set individual gears to specific buttons in the Sega Saturn version of Daytona USA, it'll even work in that version as well, meaning you can take those finely honed skills that you've developed at home on your 32-bit Mega Console and then impress all your mates with them down at the arcade whilst looking like an awesome Mega Dude. So there we go, that is the Mr. Thundering guide to how to gear drift in Daytona USA. As I said, I'm not an expert player, so if there's anything that you want to add to that you think will improve this, then please let me know in the comments. So regardless of the version you're playing, I hope you have found that useful. I have been Mr. Thundering, and I will catch you again sometime soon. Toodle Pipski.